Hello and welcome to Warden Law for round 3 of the 2023 Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship. Incredibly, by the end of this weekend, we will be halfway through the season, and already there are a number of drivers who are making their intentions clear with their eyes firmly fixed on lifting the championship crown. And last time out at Larkhall, those drivers were making the calls on the wets or the slicks as they dodged the rain in what was some fair but very hard fought racing. Well, fantastic action there at round 2 thanks to the Larkhall circuit in Scotland. But this weekend we're here at Warden Law, which is the North East premier karting facility, where when you're not racing around the track you might find yourself doing paintball, archery or off-roading, because they have it all covered here. Paul Bainbridge is the circuit manager, and earlier on I caught up with him to ask him what makes this centre so successful and just how excited he is to have the UKC back once again.
So I'm Paul Bainbridge, I'm the General Manager at Karting North East and also the Chairman of Warden Law Kart Club. Yeah, so fantastic blue skies, nice sunny day for us today. My kind of role at Karting North East, we've got a whole host of different activities. So we do archery and tomahawks, we do paintball, and of course the centrepiece, the 1200 metre kart circuit. We do a lot of stag parties out in Newcastle, a lot of birthday parties, hen parties, and just people wanting to come along and enjoy the racing on a track where the professionals come and race as well. Fantastic to have UKC back at the venue. I think it's the third time we've had them back now. And you know, it's always good. We've got them back later in the year for the UKC trophy. A fantastic championship, fantastic people running the championship, and the calibre of racing is brilliant as well.
For our UKC drivers though, once again they'll be testing their skills around what is a very technical 1200 metres of fast and fresh looking tarmac, looking to get those overtakes done at the right moment on their way to the all-important checkered flag. So let's take a look at a lap of the circuit now then and work out where some of those moments might be.
So let's take a look at a lap then here at Warden Law, and straight off the start line on the Conrod straight it is really fast down to the first right-hander. Will you lift or will you try to hold it flat? I think the braver drivers might hold it flat. You're then into Brian's Bend, which is a sort of left-right complex, before you're going to find yourself up on the double right-hander that is the dog leg. It's then only a short sprint on a straighter section down to the left-hander that is St John's, and then you find yourself on the infield, the first of 2 hairpins that make up the Senna S's. Could you get an overtake done here? Well, maybe you can. You then find yourself up on the chicane out back there. It's a right, left, right, and you want to leave yourself as much curb as you can on the exit of that one to carry your speed down the back straight, which isn't actually a straight at all. It's a big, long, sweeping right-hander, and you might get an overtake done then at Gasworks Bend as it dips down. And then when you've made your way around that Gasworks downhill bend, you find yourself coming back into the infield, and it's the horseshoe section, which is actually a triple sort of apex left-hander before you then come around that final bend, paddock bend, and then it is foot flat to the floor as you cross the finish line, hopefully taking the checkered flag.
So we're set for some great racing here at round 2 at Warden Law, and certainly the conditions under this beautiful sunny sky here in the northeast are quite different to what we experienced last time out. And now then, with the help of my iPad notes, let's remind ourselves of those wet super finals that we saw just a few weeks ago. And we're kicking things off then with Honda Cadet, where it was Ryan White from LM Motorsports who was looking to improve on his round 1 second place podium finish, where he certainly felt like he could have done better. Round one winner, Theo Bradshaw, was starting back in 5th with all the other key players, including Bella Fairclough, Ralphie Branscombe, Ollie Thompson and Jacob Jack, all starting on the front 3 rows. And after many close moments and battles throughout the race in what was really difficult conditions, don't forget, in the finish the win did indeed go to Ryan White, while behind him the battle between Jacob Jack and Ollie Thompson, that really was quite something. And if you remember, it ended with Jack crossing the line in 2nd, although a post-race penalty for his front pairing later dropped him down to 7th, moving Thompson up to 2nd and Thomas Jackson up to 3rd. And after all that, as we look at the championship tables, it's that smiley young man Ryan White who leads the Honda Cadet 950 chassis class, and Ralphie Branscombe who's leading in the 900 mils. The Mini Interclass was hard fought all weekend, with a full grid of over 30 drivers making it through to the Super Final, with the front 2 positions being taken by DHR teammates Jacob Ashcroft and Cole Denham. Behind them, round 1 podium finishers Charlie Wolfett and Luca Holmes-Ballack were a little bit further back in 7th and 18th respectively. From the lights out, it was Denham who got away cleanly, while Ashcroft dropped back, with Wolfett managing to move himself up to 2nd within the first couple of laps. And it was these 3 drivers that then dominated the race, with Ashcroft ultimately taking a commanding win. Behind him though, that battle between Wolfett and Denham really was something else. There were 2 or 3 changes of position in those closing few laps there, including both drivers running wide at one point, meaning that it really could have gone either way. In the finish though, it was Synergy driver Charlie Wolfett who took 2nd place from Cole Denham in 3rd. And I have to say, with quality running this deep throughout the whole of the class, this one really is set to be a belter. In the Micromax Super Final, it was Ed Haynes who put himself on pole position. Just behind him in 2nd was Synergy Racing's Oliver Spencer, and of course Spencer was looking to improve on his round 1 2nd place podium finish. But behind both of them, lining up in 3rd, it was always going to be tough for them both, because they were going to get pushed hard by the privateer Kian Bernard, who had already won the earlier Super Heat. And Bernard, interestingly, has now joined Zipkart for this weekend. And it was Kian who made the right moves in the opening lap to take the lead, and that's where he stayed till the checkered flag, winning by a margin in the end of over 10 seconds from Oliver Spencer in 2nd place. Although the driver of the day surely has to go to Riley Morrow, who finished in 3rd place, and that was after starting back on the 5th row of the grid in 9th. As we look at the championship table now, it's Spencer who leads, with Ed Haynes holding on to 2nd, and that man, Kian Bernard, moves up to 3rd. The round 2 Super Final for senior Rotax certainly had a lot to live up to after all the excitement we saw at round 1 at Wilter Mill. And one man who had some unfinished business, certainly from that round 1 Super Final, was DHR's Kai Hunter. Once again, he put himself on pole, lining up this time alongside KR Sports' Sean Butcher. Hunter was clearly determined though that if he was starting out on front, then that's where he was going to stay, fighting off challenges on the opening couple of laps and then commanding a lead that he ultimately carried all the way through to the finish line. A win for Hunter now sees him lead the championship table from Butcher by 3 points, and just behind them is JDR's Lucas Ellingham. But interestingly for both Ellingham and Hunter this weekend, Sean Butcher isn't here. So it's a real opportunity, hopefully on a fast, dry track, to extend their lead at the top of that championship table. A full grid of 34 drivers lined up for what was a very wet and wild junior Rotax Super Final, and the talent runs deep in this class. But starting on pole, it was KR Sports' Archie Clark. Finn Leslie was in 2nd, and Freddie Ingram, also of KR Sport, who'd won at round 1, was starting in 3rd. Gracie Mitchell had done really well at Sam Pollitt Racing. She was starting on 4th. There was lots of action in the early part of that race, and unfortunately it saw Mitchell and Leslie drop down the order, while it was Clark who was holding off challenges from Ingram and Jack Hobson of Ultimate R, who had started on the 4th row of the grid. Hobson made a move early and managed to take the lead and ultimately the win, with the fastest lap also of a 58.73. This junior Rotax class is easily one of the most competitive, and as we now look at the championship table, there are just 8 points at the top. That's between Jack Hobson, Archie Clark in 2nd, and then our man Ollie Stevens sitting in 3rd. Well, bringing things right back up to date here at Warden Law, and we're starting with Micromax, where the championship is being led by Synergy Racing's Oliver Spencer. Just behind him in 2nd place is a young driver who's going to be looking to convert one of his 5 heat wins into a super final podium. And just behind him in third place in the championship overall is another young driver who's fast making a name for himself in what is only his second season of competitive karting, and that's Kian Bernard. Surely both of those young men have got their eyes on this podium this weekend.
Hi, my name is Kian Bernard. I race in Micromax number 33 for Zipkart. So I actually started in November 2021 and I'm doing this brilliant championship, UKC. It's amazing. In the last round in Larkle, it was really wet and it was really tricky conditions. So I'd say it's more down to the driver than the actual kart. So I really enjoyed it. And it was my first time there, Scotland. So it was a lot of fun. We mainly moved to Zip because just to get me more better, to make me a better driver, really. And I'm getting a lot of help from everyone, and it's just really nice. Yeah. My regular mechanic is my brother, and he's moved with me in Zip, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of the driver coaching. The kart setup is always amazing. The overtaking opportunities here are probably the first corner, because if you overtake there, you won't lose a lot of time, and probably one of the hairpins. This weekend, for me and the team, the result that we're aiming for is first place, of course. So, yeah, the first place is the best.
Hi, I'm Edward Haynes and I'm kart number 46 from RC in Micromax. This weekend I'm racing at Warden Law, which is actually my home track, and the key thing which makes you good around this track is being very smooth with the wheel and not jacking it in. This year in the heats I've been doing really well because I've won 5 out of 6, which is very good, but in the pre-final and the final it's just sometimes being bad luck and sometimes just the car isn't set up right. I think racing for RC is good because they have a very good chassis. Dave's very good with data and everything. Dave's the one who owns RCE, and my mechanic's Adam, who's done very well. By Sunday night, I hope that I come first in all the races.
Well, let's see what happens then in this Micromax Super Final with your race commentator, Jake Sanson.
So Emerson McAndrew and Edward Haynes lining up then on the front row as they come out of Paddock Bend and on to the start-finish straight. And as we go from the drone, it's away we go here in the UKC final, round 3. And we head up towards Brian's Bends. A fabulous battle. There's up the inside already, a big challenge on the inside from Emerson McAndrew as he tries to work his way through. 3 wide nearly as they battle away. Edward Haynes has got the whole shot. He leads the way through as they go over through the dogleg and up towards St John's. Couple of drivers in the middle of the fray there, bouncing over the curves as we go back on board with Emerson McAndrew chasing after the race leader Edward Haynes, battling for the victory already. It's going to be a really exciting and intriguing battle from these guys as they continue their charge forward. The drone is keeping up with them as they run through centre 1 and 2 and then onto the back chicane. Good challenges through as Kian Bernard got himself into the mix there. And still with the 360 camera as we watch Oliver Spencer trying to make his move. And up the inside, there goes the O-plate of Jensen Chalk, making a brilliant first lap here as he charges his way in front of Harry Taylor, another driver who's made a solid move. But Oliver Spencer, try as he might, just can't quite get on the inside line of Emerson McAndrew as they work their way through the end of the first lap. So far so good, everybody's stayed pretty much together. On the inside, Oliver Spencer though makes his bid, dives through on the inside, gets into second place. Lovely job, and now they're going to set off after Edward Haynes up front. So they work their way through the dogleg and up towards St John's again. Emerson McAndrew is our cameraman with the 360 camera. Here he goes. Oh, a big twitch from Ollie Spencer. And that's going to be enough to give Emerson McAndrew all the ammunition to get through on the inside line for second. He shuts it down on the radius at centre 1 through centre 2. Very nicely handled. And he's into second place. Now he's got to try and chase after the race leader, Edward Haynes, once again, as Jensen Chalk is trying to close up on the top 3. Down in the braking zone. Here comes the move again from Oliver Spencer. Beautifully done. Second place there into the Gasworks hairpin and then up towards Horseshoe. Emerson McAndrew all over the back again. They work their way through this long flowing left-hander and then up to Paddock Bend, the final hairpin. But an excellent challenge. Edward Haynes is loving life in the lead here on a sunny Sunderland afternoon. Having a wonderful run as he continues here in the lead. Second position still very much up for grabs. Spencer holds it for the moment from Emerson McAndrew, but Jensen Chalk in the O-plate is not far away from them in 4th place. So still they continue to battle. There's the 6th place man, that's Kian Bernard, And Bernard looked like he was going to try and make a bid there to get into 5th position as we go back on board with McAndrew, swarming around behind the number 42, Oliver Spencer. Running a great race in 2nd position. Is that Kian Bernard through into 5th position? Sorry, did he get there? I think he did. Yes, he did. And he's managed to get past Harry Taylor in the process. So Emerson McAndrew again having a think about 2nd place. As now Kian Bernard, having got past Harry Taylor for 5th position, wants to have a crack at Jensen Chalk. A bit of a tighter radius there for Emerson McAndrew as he has another think about Ollie Spencer. Got to be very careful on the steering. A little bit too busy there for the drivers in this particular race. Just getting it a little bit too close in Micromax at the moment. A little bit of a run wide from Ollie Spencer. Is that going to be enough for Emerson McAndrew? He just got a little bit too deep through the first apex of Brian's Bends. So now he's got to try and hold the radius again as they come out of Dogleg and up towards St John's. That tight left-hander. Then on the run to Senna 1 and Senna 2 again. Up to the hairpin, and there's Kian Bernard. He gets his run on Jensen Shaw. That's for 4th position. So Kian Bernard still making good hay while the sun shines as he works his way up into 4th position. Good run so far. Still plenty of time in this race for more action to kick off. But Edward Haynes has still got a very solid lead at this phase. Emerson McAndrew almost dropping it onto the grass as he got the left side of the kart very wide there on the approach to Gasworks. Through Horseshoe, tightening it up, in through Paddock Bend again, as we look at the number 33, that is Kian Bernard, trying his best to work forward. He started 4th on the grid, Kian Bernard, now trying to work his magic, as he gets a little bit closer forward. This is going to be really intriguing to see who is going to get the jump in the middle section of the race. You've got to be careful about tyres at this point as well. You push them too hard in the early stages, you haven't got a lot of life left in them by the last 3 or 4 laps, and that's when the mistakes start to creep in. Jensen Chalk just keeping it nice and tidy, not overdriving the kart there in 5th position. As we look a little further back behind Jensen Chalk, the top 5 really have broken clear. And there's a really steady run of drivers further back. No major dramas so far in this race, I've noticed. So very good to see everybody still giving best. The only non-starter, Drew Davidson, unfortunately he was not able to take up the start, so that's 18 drivers still running. No major disasters so far in this race, so hopefully they'll be able to get their way back as soon as possible. And all 14 karts should be able, hopefully, without too many dramas, to get through to the end of the race. They're certainly going to be robust enough. Look at how much pressure Oliver Spencer has put on Edward Haynes to close up on him. That gap, which was fairly sizable, has now become just a few inches. So Oliver Spencer all over the back of Edward Haynes as they duel away for position. A couple of the drivers having a difficulty on the timing screen there by the look of it, as we're on board with Emerson McAndrew. He can watch this all play out in front of him. 3rd position currently for the man who started from pole. But sometimes it can be quite advantageous to sit there in 3rd or 4th position and just let it all happen. You don't want to rush this. Up to the hairpin comes the 42 of Oliver Spencer. Will he make the dive? Yes, he does. And Oliver Spencer takes the lead. Very nicely done with 6.5 minutes on the clock still to go. This is a great moment for Oliver Spencer to hit the front. But what that's done is it's backed up McAndrew in 3rd and Kian Bernard in 4th. They're now part of this battle, so it's a quartet dueling for the lead. Haynes checks over his shoulder and he points to McAndrew. Come on, we can go get him. In through Brian's Bends. Right, left, right. Then up to the top of this particular stretch through the dog leg. Emerson McAndrew definitely getting hungry. Haynes really hungry for the win here. Jensen Chalk a little way back in 5th position, but still has plenty of time to work it. Then it's Patterson in front of Taylor, Bradshaw, Murrow and Sebastian Lush. So through they come again. Ed Haynes just trying to protect himself at the moment in 2nd position. Not really giving himself too much drama. Haynes has got a problem with his transponder according to that graphic. But he's now having to move to cover and protect McAndrew and Bernard. Jensen Chalk in 5th position. Colby Patterson in 6th place. We're on board again with McAndrew as they work their way through Horseshoe and up to Paddock Bend. Just a little drop off the curb for Edward Haynes. But the back end, despite coming out a little bit, he was able to hold on to it quite neatly. So as they work their way forward through to Brian's Bends again, you carry a lot of speed through that first apex. It's a lot faster than you first give it credit. Then up towards Dogleg out of Brian's Bends. Through they come again, right and left, hit the curb on the exit, should straighten you up. In through St John's, the left-hander. There's Jensen Chalk in 5th. You can just about make out Patterson, Taylor and Bradshaw having a terrific scrabble over 6th position further back as well. Battles all the way through this UKC Micromax pack as Edward Haynes continuing on his way. And up the inside, McAndrew gets his run, and it looks like Bernard may get a chance as well. As they come up through the back chicane, Bernard's going to get into third position past Haynes in almost the same breath. So McAndrew into second, Bernard up to third, and Edward Haynes down to fourth position. We're going to go for the lead. Goodness me, Emerson, you don't wait around. Makes his move on Oliver Spencer and gets into the lead of the race. So Emerson McAndrew, our cameraman, dives up to the lead. He had to work hard to get there. But in the space of one lap, Spencer's coming straight back at him. Oh, fantastic racing here at Warden Law as the Micromax duel continues between four very talented young men. Spencer, McAndrew, Bernard, Haynes. They are giving us great drama here. Spencer trying to hold the lead. Still plenty of time to go as well. Lots of lead changes. McAndrew trying to get level with Spencer. Spencer protecting. Keeping the car quite wide at that section. McAndrew trying to go for it into the back chicane. Not going to happen. But on the run to Gasworks, this is where McAndrew can be really strong and unleash the confidence. No, Bernard's going to get him instead. No, he's not. McAndrew drives it right round the outside. Holds on in front of Kian Bernard. And now Edward Haynes is going to launch into third position instead. So Haynes will come through into third. Nicely handled. Over the start-finish line, and the four drivers still battling. 3 minutes and 20 on the clock. Still plenty of racing to come from this race. Everyone's still pushing hard. Spencer, McAndrew, Haynes, Bernard. Jensen Chalk is 2.5 adrift just in case something kicks off. And then Colby Patterson from Harry Taylor and Theo Bradshaw. 9th position currently Riley Morrow, where he started. And up into the top 10 again has come Josh Cormack in front of Sebastian Lush and Alex Goodson. Still they squabble. Haynes is all over the back of Emerson McAndrew. He wants to get back in a second position as soon as possible. He wants to be the first one in the queue to take on Ollie Spencer. Off the back chicane. Emerson McAndrew sizing up the opportunity. All over the back of Spencer. Look at the travel in the back of the cart as they go through the hairpin. Spencer having to save it as he goes through there, trying to carry as much speed as possible. But the back end really wants to overtake the front on that slowish hairpin. So you're trying to carry a lot more speed through there as you possibly want to. Up through the first corner again, into Brian's Bends. Through the right. Hold it on the white line. This is so tense. Who's going to get this? All four drivers have a crack at it. Kian Bernard is the only one of them that hasn't led this race at some point, but he's definitely come close. As they work their way through St John's and up to centre 1 and 2. Looks like Jensen Chalk's been caught by Colby Patterson as well in the battle for 5th position. And then you've got Taylor, Bradshaw, Morrow, Cormac, Lush, and up into 12th has come Otis Cleary. So he's still working his magic. Across they come again. Through the back chicane and up towards Gasworks. When is the big move going to come? We're into the final 2 minutes of time. But then it's time plus the additional lap, isn't it? So Emerson McAndrew, here he goes, looks for the opportunity, dives in, Ollie Spencer almost shuts the door on him, and that's going to be enough for Edward Haynes to slip through, and Kian Bernard trying to return the favour as well, can't get there, has to hang back in 4th position. Emerson McAndrew uncorks the bottle and fizzes to the front. Nicely done from Emerson McAndrew. Edward Haynes went with him though, so he's all over the back of the 133, knocking on the door. Hello, hello, anybody home? Trying his best to get the opportunity, but Edward Haynes just can't find the gap on the inside. Emerson McAndrew gesturing to Edward Haynes. Come on, let's get away. No chance, says Edward Haynes. We've only got a minute left. I'm going to go for the lead, and I'm going to go for it quickly. I don't get many opportunities to run from the front. I'm going to make sure I get this one sorted. So the two front row men exactly where they started. In fact, the top four are exactly the top four in the position they started. But with a race as exciting as this, it's nowhere near as boring as the result from the grid makes out. It's been very interesting between these four. Haynes tries again, coming on to the final straight again, and they are being edged and willed on by their mechanics. 30 seconds left. Up the inside, big launch from Ollie Spencer into the first of Brian's Bends. Kian Bernard is going to try and go with him, and this time he does get there into 3rd position. Nice job from Kian Bernard. So he's up to 3rd. Very well read as well. He saw the gap. He realised that Haynes was going to be a little bit loose on the exit and went, right, that's my moment. And he really held it well. So McAndrew leads. Spencer now 2nd. Bernard in 3rd. Going a little bit defensive from Haynes. Haynes is trying to get back into the top 3. Come on! Forces the issue. And up over the top goes Kian Bernard. He just rises over the rear wheel of Edward Haynes. Haynes was absolutely relentless. I am getting through. There's nothing you can do about it. But they've both lost ground as a result. So now it's a 2-horse race. Going into the final lap next time by, Emerson McAndrew is going to be out in front of Edward Haynes. They finished the 13th lap, and into the 14th and final tour we go. Spencer, 0.2 of a second behind Emerson McAndrew as they go into the final lap. Spencer's going to go for it in the first corner. He runs wide and through goes Ollie Spencer. Takes the lead. It's not over yet by any stretch at all. Emerson McAndrew is going to try and come back in. We're on the final lap. Just wait for it. St John's up to centre 1, up to centre 2. There are still plenty of overtaking shots. You can have a go into the back chicane. You can have a go into the gasworks. You can even be brave and slingshot it in through Paddock Bend if you want. But you've got to stay close to Ollie Spencer if the opportunity arises. It's going to be very tight. But I think Spencer may be able to hold on for this one. However, they may have a look at that and sense about whether there was an unfair advantage gained, because there was a little bit of a love tap going through turn 1 for Ollie Spencer. For the moment, he's going to hold it as he comes through at the end of the race. Ollie Spencer will take the checkered flag in first position. I don't think Emerson McAndrew is going to be happy with it. Third position is going to be Edward Haynes, and then it's going to be Cian Bernard in front of Colby Patterson. However, as you can see from the results, Emerson McAndrew is promoted to the victory in front of Edward Haynes and Cian Bernard. From Colby Patterson and Jensen Chalk, Oliver Spencer is given a 5-second penalty for gaining an unfair advantage, and that has completely transformed this race. It definitely heats things up in the championship fight as well, but what a dramatic end to the race here in the Micromax Super Final at Warden Law. Kev will be down there in the pits to greet our drivers home.
Emerson, Edward there was disappointed with the result. You've ended up in second place. Can you put a smile on your face in any way?
Well, it was a tough race, but just keep pushing.
Really was a tough race. That battle was going on between yourself, Oliver Spencer there, Cian Bernard and Edward Haynes. Any one of you could have won it at any stage. Just tell us how come you're not on the top step. What do you think was the mistake that perhaps you made this time?
Going into the last lap, first corner I got hit and then forced me wide, which then Spencer went through and then I couldn't close the gap.
Edward, that was quite some race. There was 4 of you going for that one there. Huge congratulations. Big high five there from your mechanic, Adam. Just tell us about the closing stages of that race. It could have been any one of you on the top spot.
Yeah, it could have, but it wasn't me, sadly.
We turn our attention now then to senior Rotax, that's seen some really committed racing in both of our opening rounds from what are our most experienced and oldest drivers here. As we look at the top of the championship table, it's split by just 12 points, with Lucas Ellingham in third, Sean Butcher in second, and just slightly further ahead by 3 points is DHR driver Kai Hunter. Kai is on a circuit he knows well here at Warden Law this weekend, and Dan Holland Racing on a roll in other classes too. So I dropped by their awning earlier to see what the mood is like.
Hi, I'm Darryl Malotti. I work for Dan Holland Racing. I help run drivers at the weekend and build the race engines in the week. We offer a complete package for drivers. We build our own race engines as well as run the race team. The team itself has been operating since 2009. We're sort of British, European and world champions. We offer either a complete arrive and drive if you want to just turn up, sit in the car and go, or equally if you have your own engines, we want to run some of your own kit as well. We can accommodate that at any level. So Kai Hunter at the minute's doing really well in Senior Max. Should be a good weekend for him. It's his home track, so hoping to just continue the form there. He had a good Lark-all, so just hoping to carry it on. In the Mini-Max, we've got Jacob Ashcroft and also Finley Lines, and we have Noah Barham as well this weekend. They've all been showing really good pace, so two of them haven't done every round, but Jacob has done so far, and he's in a really good spot in the championship, so hoping to carry that on. We've got our 2 Micromax drivers as well. They're both showing strong pace, Emerson and Harry Taylor. And then in the junior, we actually have a driver who was in the Mini-Max, Dan Kilpatrick. He's moved up to Junior Max now as that grid stopped, as well as Ollie Stevens, who's up there in the Junior Max Championship as well.
Hi, I'm Kai Hunter, and we're a senior Rotax number 95. Yeah, I think I had an average round 1. I did do quite well in the heats and the super heat, but final didn't go to plan, didn't finish that, so I wanted to come back and really put my name back on the top of the championship. So got a really good round 2, won the super heat, won the final, and yeah, just got back on the number 1 step. The level this year is really high. You've also got a mix of different abilities as well, which is it's even harder to get through. Yeah, I think so. We've got some really good talent this year in every class. even people that does the British and stuff like that. Yeah, I think Dan and Time put so much effort in, and I think it shows by how much we win and how good our results are. My only happiness would be if I win. So I'm not going for second, obviously. So yeah, I want to get some really good points on the board, get the championship extended, and win the race. Yeah, don't come second.
Well, that all sounds pretty positive there from Kai and the team at DHR, but can third place man Lucas Ellingham of JDR spoil the party? Well, let's go and find out.
Hi, I'm Lucas Ellingham, Kart 99, racing senior Rotax with JDR. Things been going fairly well. I started with half of last year, did the first half to try and get back into things, aiming to do the full season this year. It started off quite well, went to Wilton, Fire Hopes, it's my home track. I get on really well there normally. Had really good heats, got to the front in all of them, and got to the Super Heat, ended up starting P1 into P2 because obviously the car's on pole, and then won that, ended up off P2 for the final, and then had an unfortunate incident which dropped me back, but came back for its 10th. So round 1 wasn't too bad. Then going up to Larkle. Larkle was questionable, it was quite average, but it's good points over the time, kept out there in the points tables. So about Shore Butchery this weekend, I'll be mainly aiming on trying to close the gap to Kai. It'll be quite hard as it's his home circuit, and that's where he does most of his time. I think we're going to have quite a good chance, getting quite well entry. So this weekend we've got Jack working in the all-in, telling us what to do to the car. I've got Steve on the spanners, making sure the car's nice and clean, nice and fast. Looking forward to the Super Final. Hopefully I'll be able to either beat Kai or be very close, so hopefully a top 3 will be the main aim, just to get good points on the table the next round.
Time to head to the start line now then for senior Rotax. Here's your race commentator, Jake Sanson.
There is no better way to finish a UKC weekend than the rip-roarers of senior Rotax. Hunter and Rennie on the front row, our cameraman Rawson behind Mackerel, and we are underway. What a start from Kai Hunter. Launches forward, times it to perfection, and in his back garden, that might be the last we see of him. He is so strong here at Warden Law. So now it's up to the others to try and take him on. Here is Philip Rawson. Tristan Rennie holding on a second. They go into St John's. He continues to defend, holding that second place. Up to the inside. Look at him, holding the middle of the road. Rawson has no chance to go left or right. Tristan Rennie knows that second might be the best he's going to get from this race with Kai Hunter up front. He didn't beat him into turn 1. So now he's just got to consolidate and give himself the best possible chance of a solid result. Down into the gasworks hairpin. Rawson again tries to take on Rennie. He continues to make good work of it. But look at the pickup on the tyres already on the first lap. So many marbles around and you kick up so much. You can see that on Ross's tyre as he ducks down behind the steering wheel, trying to get a good run and a good tow on Tristan Rennie through into Brian's Bends. Some great challenges. A very decent sunny day here at Warden Law. Trying to get the move on the inside. Rawson still trying to take on Rennie. Then it's Bullock Carter, Lowther, Mackerel, Duncan, Wood, Ellingham, Jack Lillian, Callum Kinder in front of Scrivener, Pritchard and Caudle. You can see James Lowther there up to 4th position. He's got past Pearson Bullock Carter then to move up into 4th, and he's trying to move his way up through the order. There's Callum Kinder getting squeezed. Got to be careful. He's going to lose ground to both Pritchard and Caudle. And I think that's Lord trying to get in on the act as well. As up the inside, there goes Lowther. Gets the bid on Rawson. So having made the move, he now makes it stick. So James Lowther is up at a 3rd position in front of Rawson. Into centre to the right, and there's the big dive at the inside from Pearson Bullock Carter. That'll do on Rawson, but he's going to run wide on the exit, and it's going to get feisty over the curbs. Somehow, Pearson Bullock Carter hangs on to all that. But now he's having to go a little bit tighter on defence, as here comes Duncan. Duncan wants to get alongside him. Stephen Duncan trying to make his bid and run out to dry there. Caudle losing out in the middle of it. Duncan having to go round the outside. Still holding his own. Up on the inside, there goes Caudle. On the inside line, gets the run there on Stephen Duncan. And that's going to be plenty of invitation for the Jack Dex Racing driver behind him. Lucas Ellingham is going to want to make that same overtake. As the number 8 behind them, Thomas Wood, still running in 10th in front of Lilly. Then Scrivener, Pritchard, Kinder, Frederick, Napier, Lord and Collins. In 19th, the 42 of Jay Lewis. And then the 38 is in behind him. That is the very impressive rise of Benny Chilton. He's already made up 7 places. Benny Chilton with a bit more work to do, but up the inside comes Rawson. That'll do on Mackerel, and he's not going to be the only one to get there. Caudle does as well. Beautifully timed. So as the fourth place battle continues to rage, Rennie is trying to stay as close to Lowther as possible. But only James Lowther can really give Kai Hunter a run for his money at the moment. And even he is 1.6 seconds back. Lorenzo Caudle, the leading seeded driver coming into this season. The number 2. Having a great solid race of it. And a very tough battle. Definitely in the offing here. As Kai Hunter stretches his legs out front, Tristan Rennie is trying to catch up to James Lowther, who started P6 and is now in P2. Looking very good for the podium indeed. But the rest of the field having a very tame squabble of it. It's a hard race, but it's certainly not a violent one, as everybody's keeping it very respectful at the moment. Reasonable driving standards here in Senior Rotax so far. Just a handful of incidents. Obviously, we know that Leo Purchase did not start the race. And I think I can't see George Hunter anywhere. As now we look at Rawson diving through on the inside of Bullock Carter. And he's going to carry Lorenzo Caudle through with him. So, amazing run so far from Philip Rawson. He gets himself back together again. And now he heads the train for 4th position. So, a good fight back as they continue on the march. A really solid race of it. So, Rawson works his way through. Up to the dogleg. Hopping over the curbs. You can see there as well Scott Mackerel, who was at the front of this little gaggle of carts, has suddenly ended up a little further back than he would like to be. But still they stretch it out. There's still plenty of time. 6 minutes on the clock, plus the additional lap after that. Anything can still change in this battle for 4th position. And if anything happens to the guys up front, they might just walk away with some silverware. Scott Mackerel looking again. No chance from Pearson Bullock Carter. He's just holding his line on the inside of the hairpin there. No way through at the gasworks. Long left, through the horseshoe. And up to Paddock Bend again. Onto the home stretch. Hunter has now pulled 2 seconds clear of James Lowther. 2.5 ahead of Tristan Rennie. Have we got problems somewhere? Did I just see somebody skate off the road there in the background? Certainly a couple of drivers coming a crop up as we ride back on board with Rawson. So racing still very close indeed up front. Rawson's still got a bit of time to make up though, as he tries to work his way forward. Out in front though, look at Kai Hunter. He has just gone up in the lead of this race. Just having no issues at all with anybody. Try as they might, Lowther and Rennie just can't quite get close enough to even think about making the challenge. And on the inside line, that is move on Callum Kinder. That is very nicely taken there by Fedrick. So Theo Fedrick trying to move his way forward. A little further back, we've got battles galore as well. There is the 42 of Lewis trying to take on Stephen Napier. But can he make the move on the inside line? No, he can't. And in behind them, you have the 57 of Isaac Lord. He's trying to get through on the inside line as well. Great racing in UKC's Senior Rotax Super Final here at Warden Law 2023. All sorts of duels out there on the circuit as the drivers continue to make a great race of it. But it doesn't matter where you look in UKC and Senior Rotax. If you're in this final, you're always going to be in the mix of a fight. You're always going to have someone to duel with. As we watch this continued duel for 17th between Napier, Lewis and Lord. It's not just about the leaders. You've got to focus on the guys in the mid-pack as well, because you win this battle this time. Next time, it could be for the top 10. As we watch a little further back as well, we've got a great duel here shaping up. The 55 of Jack Bate just trying to work his way forward. And he's trying to take on the 38 in there of Benny Chilton, having lost out just briefly to Andrew Hughes. And behind the 42 of Jack Lewis, he's still got pressure from Isaac Lord. So still all the way down through this Senior Rotax field, there are plenty of reasons to be a little bit nervous about what will happen over the next few laps, because Lewis is going to want to take on Stephen Napier here. No worries about that for sure. Certainly going to have to pick their moment as they wait for an opportunity. This is not going to be easy at all. Some great duels in the mid-pack. Everybody's still trying to mix it and try and get up the order again. As we watch the 24 of Stephen Duncan, still trying to look for that podium. He's down to the back of the train though, down to 9th place. He wants to get back into 4th. That's being held by Philip Rawson, who we ride on board with now. The man behind us is Lorenzo Caudle, the number 2 seed, trying to chase us back for the podium. But to even have a think about the podium, not only has he got to get past Rawson, he's got to make up 2.5 seconds to close back up to the Scotsman Tristan Rennie. It's looking unattainable. But Rennie, up in front of them, has his eyes firmly fixed on James Lowther in second. He wants to get that gap down. It's 0.6 of a second. It's doable. Caudle tightens up on Rawson through the braking zone for the Gasworks. Come on, Phil, get on with it, says Lorenzo Caudle. I'm getting impatient now. Onto the main straight. Wants to try and size up a move for 4th position. The race is getting away from him. Any signs of silverware slowly starting to fade for Lorenzo Caudle. He needs to get past Phil Rawson. They've only got 2 minutes of time still left on the clock. Plus the additional lap after that. Come on, Phil, put your foot down or get out of my way, says Lorenzo Caudle. Here he goes, up the inside. He got impatient. He made a perfect move into centre 1, and Rawson just has to watch him go. Very nicely handled as they continue their battle up on the far side of the course. So Lorenzo Caudle now in a 4th position. Meanwhile, for 6th place, we've got Pearson Bullock Carter in front of Ellingham. So Ellingham has got his way through now. Duncan has moved his way up to 8th place, so all at the expense of Mackerel, who it looks to me has fallen into the clutches briefly of Angus Scrivener. So Scrivener is not far away from catching them. There's the shuffle. Ellingham and Duncan both past Mackerel. Scrivener right on the warpath as well for 10th position at the moment, but it could become 9th if he goes for Mackerel. And then Lilly, Wood, Pritchard, Frederick, Kinder, Collins, Napier, Lewis and Hughes. There is James Lowther, desperately trying to get away from Tristan Rennie. He's keeping this gap fairly steady at 6 to 0.8 of a second. No major changes between these two for a while. But try as he might, Rennie just can't quite take on James Lowther, who's kept the pace very consistent for 2nd and 3rd. And these two are going to get some solid silverware. For once, it's actually been quite a tame senior Rotax final in UKC. Certainly wasn't that way for the first 2 races of the season at Wilton Mill and Lark Hall. They seem to have lost another couple of drivers. I noticed there are 2 other retirements, as well as George Hunter. We've also lost Romarian Ubi and Gavin DeWart, which is very unfortunate. They were close to each other on track. I didn't see an incident between them, but certainly both drivers now out of the race. But up front, this is what you can call masterclass. Kai Hunter, the number 95, on the Dan Holland Racing Lando Norris chassis, just taking it ever so smoothly on home turf. They live just down the road, and the Hunter family are really building this circuit up to be big business. I know they've got their eyes firmly set on hosting the European Championships here in the future, but certainly for now, the Ultimate Karting Championship, a perfect venue in Warden Law to continue this UKC title fight in 2023. As we go into the final lap, Kai Hunter is over 2 seconds clear of James Lowther and Tristan Rennie, and it's a joy to watch. When he's in his element, when he's got the setup nailed just right, Kai Hunter makes it look like dancing. Phil Rawson still trying to go after Lorenzo Caudle one last time for 4th position, but I think it's all she wrote, folks. Certainly in the top 10, they look pretty neat and tidy to me now, as Kai Hunter is going to bring it through the back chicane and up to the Gasworks for the last time. That's the gap between him and James Lowther. It's cooled off to just over 2 seconds, but then Hunter doesn't need more than that. He's going to come through for a fabulous run, and he will get the 40 championship points for taking the victory. It's game on in 2023 again for Kai Hunter as he wins in his back garden. 2 hands in the air. Domination by Kai Hunter. James Lowther in 2nd place from Tristan Rennie in 3rd. Lorenzo Caudle in 4th position in front of Philip Rawson, and then the gaggle of battlers behind them. Pearson Bullock Carter ahead of Lucas Ellingham, Stephen Duncan, Scott Mackerel and Angus Scrivener.
Kai, I spoke to you yesterday morning in the awning, and I said to you, you know, what you're hoping for come Sunday night, and this was it. It was a win. You were kind of untouchable this weekend, it seems.
Yeah, I did what I needed to do, get some good points on the board again, stretch the gap, and yeah, I did it and won the race, so absolutely over the moon.
Talk us through the weekend, because the heats went well for you, as did the super heat this morning, the pre-final.
Yeah, the heats went good, apart from the second one, which got caught up in a little incident, but it's all right. Absolutely smashed the super heat and then smashed the final, so yeah.
Hey James, well done to you, sir. 2nd place on the day. As we were just hearing there, you guys sort of found a position out in front. Not much to do apart from just keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it didn't help starting where we did because of brake failure in the super heat. I think second's all right. It just went quicker than Kai. It would have been nice.
I mean, Kai was sort of untouchable this weekend, but like you say, he started 6th on the grid, so finishing up on the podium in 2nd, it's not bad, is it?
No, I'm happy with that.
Tell us about the weekend as a whole, though.
It's been a good weekend. I think we've had a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 9th in the heats. Obviously, the super heat let us down, but it's good.
I have to say, it was a strong drive for you, a strong result, but from a spectator's point of view, not a lot of fraction for us to watch. It was just lap after lap, maintaining a position.
Yeah, which is a very long-winded, boring race, to be honest. We were just Lowther got past us in the early stages of the race, and we just kind of tried to hold on to him and get away from the boys behind us.
And started there on the front row of the grid in 2nd. You've ended up in 3rd. You've just it's another podium for you. 2nd place last time out at Larkhall. So overall, a good weekend and strong championship points.
Yeah, overall good weekend and a lot of points. Yeah. We can't really ask for much more than that, to be honest. We had a really good weekend.
Well, how about that for a weekend's racing here from a very sunny Karting North East, the home of Warden Law. Brilliant racing for the youngsters there in Micromax, and what a dominant performance is Senior Rotax, the man who now is leading the championship, and indeed was coming into the weekend, Dan Holland Racing's Kai Hunter. Really great stuff in our opening 2 classes here at round 3 of the 2023 Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship. Join us next time when we have 3 more super finals to bring you in Mini Intup, Honda Cadet and Junior Rotax. Until then, though, from all of us here and myself, Kev Harris, see ya.